This is the entity that is stalking in contact with the people of the state. The entity is maintaining what is ongoing sensational activity while they are on the street. This is stalking in the engineered environment with the government that's using planes and helicopters, doing so with the impossible light activity. That's not their brake lights. That's the Ontario police who are going to be disbanded and they're going to prison. For example, Jay Sandoval, she committed what is an unlawful threat to threaten kidnapping while she is stalking. And she's a demon who is stalking on video, moreover, as this agency is engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct with the people of the state who are demons. And you saw the red light on this wall and the magnified size of this structure projected onto this wall. That's engineered light. The Ontario police are crossing paths, and this is psychopathic. This is what the entity is doing while the entity is engaged in what is sensational activity. This is all demonic. The demonic and criminal conduct of the entity is relevant to what is domestic terrorism, not just the stalking by a demon-possessed population who are a threat to children, who will be losing custody of children, who will be deported out of this country, who are going to prison. This is all gang violence, and this is while the entity is engaged in what is monitoring. While you are stalking in the path in impossible light, they are exhibiting to the world their mental illness, the threat that they are to themselves and each other, the fact that they are conspiring murder together by stalking as a mentally ill population, and doing so while their criminal system is not a secret. They are monitoring the evidence and have been for years. This is the entity that is indeed engaged in what is gang stalking with impunity. This is the same entity that's engaged in what is demonic conduct, harassing me while they're engaged in their demonic behaviors because I'm documenting it. I just want to be clear. What you're looking at up here is psychopathic pacing back and forth and back and forth. This is exhibiting mental illness, and those are by the demons that are stalking in aircrafts. This is the entity that shares the mental illness while they are stalking on the roads and the highways, molesting with impossible light, sitting in a library at the Ovid Family Community Library, stalking all day. Guess who's going to prison for kidnapping with this entity? The demons that you see that are at the Ovid Family Community Library committing kidnapping. Alex, Alexander, you have John, you have Brianna, you have Yesenia Rivas, you have Sarah LeBlanc, you have Sean Thrasher, you have the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct, and I know those demons' names. They're sharing as an entity, exposing the criminal system that they're committing at the Ovid Family Community Library, when with this agency that is stalking at 10:46 at night commits a kidnapping while you're engaging in criminal surveillance and not law enforcement. And because you dress up in a uniform and commit such acts with the demons that are stalking, that are losing custody of kids and being deported, you're going to prison. This is P.O.C. This is the entity that is imploding the system of gang stalking while the entity is openly stalking with aircrafts, with the police department, demons the same, just like the people of the state. They're going to federal prison. They're going to be prosecuted for a series of kidnappings that they committed while these feces consumers committed kidnapping to obstruct justice. While I've been publishing this ongoing investigation, and the mentally ill like that are engaging in kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department, they're going to prison. This is what the city of Los Angeles, the city of Fontana, the city of Upland, the city of Pasadena, and every the entity that I'm documenting from city to city, place to place, are sharing in the pattern of conduct, and the entity is doing so. The fake sun documentation is showing you what is the significance of the demon possessed who are all stalking with light, and the demon possessed tell on themselves their mental illness is no longer closeted. And it's also directly relevant to prosecuting gang stalkers who are a threat to the minor children, the same minor children that they are in custody of while they're engaged in what is this unabated program of psychological torture, of vagina monitoring, of stalking and furtherance of murder. And they show you themselves and the children that they're a threat to at the Ovid Family Community Library, where this same population is gang stalking. This is the evidence that's going to comprehensively prosecute the terrorists that are the people of the state of California, gang stalkers in general. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:48 p.m. This is the entity that is stalking and furtherance of murder, gang violence, which is putting Mike LORENZ, amongst many others, in prison. But I want to be clear, the gang leader, that is Tracy Banks, that is Jason Isaac Fields, they're going to federal prison, and the demon-possessed are engaged in what is federal group stalking monitoring with impunity. Remember, the entity is engaged in what is ongoing impunity while you're looking at it, because their headlights are not causing the cascading light. So they are choosing one after another to continuously engage in that, as though they're going to commit a murder, and the federal government is not going to do anything about it, that the federal government and everybody that's watching this prosecution on the internet isn't going to know what happened. That is also relevant to the mental illness by every stalker that you see represented by a vehicle, and represented by businesses, and represented by the households. while the entity is in the streets at night stalking a woman who has detailed every aspect of the criminal system. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while the city of Ontario is going to be gutted out for conspiring my murder and incentivizing stalking and conspiring my murder as a population of stalkers. This is P.O.C. This is the criminal conduct of the demon-possessed, the Nephilim, the domestic terrorists, the enemies of this country. This is what they do to American citizens who do not have any evidence to prove it. And the entity is going to be thoroughly prosecuted for it. This is P.O.C. The entity is engaged in this pattern of conduct, and this is where the fake sun rises, where a population is going to be prosecuted for worshiping me, for exhibiting mental illness while they engage in that conduct together. All of that is not headlights. They're all stalking together. This is where the entity is engaged in what is failed and delusional witchcraft. And the leaders in the city of Ontario, the state of California, are being exposed while the mentally ill are identified appropriately. First, as demon-possessed. That's what you need to know. They're engaged in the work of Satan, and they go by what is the state of California, and this is that prosecution. The entity is engaged in that criminal system. This is where they have the fake sun rising in the morning. It is currently 10:50 p.m. This is P.O.C.